One of you and a happy New Year's 2025. Bringing it in on the live stream here on the Wednesday night hump. I appreciate you taking the time to show up. Time is a valuable thing. And for you to spend a little bit of yours with me is always appreciated. I always like starting out. So, wherever this finds you in your morning, your afternoon, or your evening, welcome to you. I am going to talk tonight very briefly, not a long one tonight. As usual, I write a Mr. Watson. Hey, how you doing? Happy New Year to you. Welcome. I write a script for these live streams, and I only like to talk about topics that interest me. It's just the way that I am. Things that are interesting to me, usually I can pontificate upon, pretty widely, but everything else, not so much. And I know there's a lot of news about new gear being released, this guitar or this amp, or what was the best amp of the year, or what was the best guitar of the year, and all those things. But on this channel, we kind of overlook that. Um, a lot of that has to do with marketing hype. And again, we're looking at ways of looking at what we already have and making improvements on that inexpensively on a budget. Because at the end of the day, it's about making music, not about collecting gear. So tonight, I thought that I would take the time to talk to you about parts. Let's talk parts. I got a shipment of parts in, so I thought we would do actually a live unveiling, unboxing, or actually in this case, unwrapping of these parts and talk about them in general. A few price comparisons that I came up with, some interesting thoughts, and see if these parts are of any kind of quality. Ben Allmark, Happy New Year to you. Thank you so much. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, as you know, and my neck, the new neck for my now parts caster, Strat, HH Strat, has arrived here in the country. It should be delivered here sometime, maybe this weekend, I hope. And I'm immediately going to put that together because I can't wait to see how that works out. In the meanwhile, that left me with my Squire Affinity restoration because of the original neck, the original body are coming back together again. And I decided to do the hardware in gold this time. There was a FSR Squire out there that I like the gold hardware look on it so much that I said, you know what, I'm going to make my Squire Affinity look like that. So I ordered some parts. Now, there is a company that I mentioned in the last live stream that I use for buying parts called Amuric Music. And Amuric Music is where I'm getting the neck from. And two of the parts here came from them, the bridge and the back plate, because I would like those to be gold as well. So I'm going to open these up and kind of talk about parts tonight. Just to refresh your memory, this is the body to that 2001 Affinity that I am rebuilding, and that these parts that I got are for. And, let me catch up here. Mr. Larson, how you doing? An injury-free New Year's Eve. Yeah, no kidding, man. It was a freaking war zone here in Amsterdam last night. If you hadn't seen the news of that, it was crazy. Two people literally blew themselves up, so they're gone. And hundreds of others just, injured as a result. Don Juan in the house. How you doing? Happy New Year to you too, sir. And loud as hell. It started around 6 p.m. and I would say it went steadily, without any pauses until about 1:30 a.m. And I was up because I'm an extremely light sleeper. Beautiful 360 view here from my place that I the whole city and got to see, all around and that's interesting. but then you wish it would stop. And it did not stop. So there was that. It was an interesting time. BRB, hey, a good day to you too, sir. I'm doing well. Happy New Year's to you as well. Um, yeah, it was a mess here in Amsterdam. But my pets, my new puppy dog, she didn't care. It did not affect her in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Um, yeah, so Scott, how you doing? Welcome, sir. Cheers. Happy New Year to you. Really good to see you here. Hey. Um, yeah, fine with something. I have here the body that these parts are for. And it is really an interesting thing um, when it comes to budget friendly parts because when they hit very nicely because of their price. When they miss, they are for your parts bin. As you know, I believe in holding on to parts, keeping as much as possible. Particularly for the types of guitars that I'm working on these days. I'm working on a lot of Strats. So I have a lot of Strat parts, but I have other parts for Gibsons as well. Pickups, all that kind of thing. Necks now, extra necks in the plural, which is good. Um, and this is no different, but are budget friendly parts really worth it for those reasons that it's hit or miss? Um, Stick around because we're going to compare them to official fender replacement parts and talk about what's really worth your money. So, first thing that came in is a replacement back plate for this guitar. It really doesn't matter. As you can see, I filled in where the previous back plates had been drilled in. It had a few over its lifetime. And this one will be no different. Um, no, it doesn't exactly match that front green color, but it's close enough. Plus, it has the black binding on it as the front one. So just looking at this, yeah, you really can't go wrong with so stuff like this, except for one thing. Look at the hole alignment. You'll see that over here, the hole is up a little bit as opposed to being across from this side, as you would find on most standard Squires and Fenders. Hold on, guys. Cat hide here. Go on. Sorry about that. Didn't know she was in here. Um, but for a project like this, where I'm basically restoring it, it's okay. It'll work. And the cost of this backplate off Amazon is about €2, $3 or so, less than $3. They're very inexpensive. And I have to say, looking at it, the quality of it is not bad. But again, that stringer alignment could be an issue for you. I'm sorry, the hole alignment could be an issue for you. It's not for me in this case. So in this case, I would say that this would definitely go under the hit. For that price, to get a replacement backplate, that's got the black binding around it to match other parts of the god is pretty cool. So in that regard, that's okay. Catching up here. I haven't been injury free since 2001. I think he was talking about the fireworks there. Yeah. Yeah, it was a crazy one. And then I saw in Hawaii, like a neighborhood got blown up and just all over, man. It's just, I don't know what's going on. The fireworks thing is, when I was a kid, the strongest, most deadly thing was this firework called an M80. It was a quarter of stick dynamite. Now you can get those, and and they were red, and then there were of course cherry bombs, but those were the most dangerous things. That would be the least that you'd have to worry about these days. That's just a shame of it. Um, so there's that. So I think that the back plate, uh, if you're doing a restoration project like me, it makes sense. And again, if you got a Fender official plate, it would cost you about 30, 40 bucks. You could go for just about any plate, but if you're trying to line up those holes, which I'm not, because again, I've already filled them in, and that's fine. Then you have to keep that in mind as well. That could be something that could, be a bit of a thing. So always check out that hole alignment before you order parts like these inexpensive plates, because that hole alignment will be the thing that could be a problem. In my case, like I said, it didn't bother me because, it is what it is with this. Received a Music Lily fully loaded turquoise show guard with black plastic for Xmas. Wow, that's sweet. What are you going to do with it? Oh, you did say going to be my first change out on my guitars and old Blackie Strat copy. So it's like, yeah, and then it'll end up being your number one again. I just got the opportunity to plug in my HH converted Squire, even though I'll be changing next. But I wanted to hear how it sounded through my board here. I haven't had the opportunity to even do that. And tonight, just about half hour ago, actually. And it's just stunning sound. I can't wait to film that for you guys so you can hear it after the neck is on, the new neck. I'm waiting for that. So there's that. So these I don't think you can go wrong on. So that's okay. Let's get to something that could be. Oh no! Before we do that, American Music. I ordered this from. This is just going to be your standard neck plate. I also got this because, again, like I said, this is going to be gold hardware. Oh, I didn't know that. They had this on. They had this retainer plate, which is kind of nice. That's actually pretty neat to have that. But here's the actual plate. I didn't know it, guys. I just turned it over. Look at that. It's got a fender on it. I didn't know that. It's a counterfeit copy of a fender. Yeah, I got you on that GRB Pickguard. I got you. That's awesome. And so there's that. I'll use this side. The thing about this, it doesn't matter which side. I'll use the blank side, but I didn't know that. That's interesting. Interesting. But it did come in a nice packaging to keep it from getting bent. It came in a plastic retainer and came with all the screws. I did not know that it had that, but it was a fake fender patch. That's crazy. But like I said, it's reversible, so I'll just use the blank side. So I would say, let's see, we can already see if it lines up. Yep, and it lines up perfectly with the old existing plate, so where it was. So that's great. So how much did I pay for this? 4 euros. 4 euros. So I think that with simple things, again, like the back plate, and with your, as long as this is of good quality, decent quality, it's of the same quality you would find on an Affinity. I'll say that's the quality of that. The quality of this actually is not bad. I'm actually impressed. It's a little bit better quality than you would get on a Squire Affinity. The replacement parts that I'm using to put this back together again. The one that I'm interested in, and that I definitely ordered from Amuric Music. Again, those are the guys that I buy a lot of my parts from. The neck that's coming comes from them. Is the replacement bridge. Replacement bridge. So let's take paper off and take a look at that. So again, this is going to be gold parts on this guitar. Boy, that block is thin. That is a thin block on there. Oh, that's super cool. My especially the unexpected F branding. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I got this thing. I talked about in my last live stream about that kind of thing. New neck. I could easily put a Squire decal on it, but I don't. That I keep around for restoration of real Squires. But this is not a Squire neck. I'm actually going to be doing something else with that. But that back plate, I'll just use the back side. But that is thin, and I brought out. Actually, this is the original image that came with the Affinity. I still have it. it should drop right in and line up with the holes, which it does. So there's that. Question is, first thing, look at how thin that block is. Can you guys see that? I mean, I consider this to be too thin. I'm sorry, guys. This is not the one for this. This is the block for Squire SE. Sorry, guys. Got a lot of parts around here. But this was the SE block from 2003. I thought that this was too thin, so I replaced it with a fender replacement, a true fender replacement part. That is even thinner than this, and weight-wise, yeah, this is noticeably heavier. That is a super thin block. I don't do use the whammy bar or any of that stuff. I lock them down. So that's okay. Not a big thing, but I would say quality wise, with this 2003 part versus this new made in China part, those things are absolutely different in regard that a better made Chinese part as opposed to this one. Not really a big deal as long as it drops in and lines up with the holes, which it does. So that works. That'll work. Lines up, not yeah, that lines up perfectly. Holy mollies. So again, since it does, I would more than consider that to be a winner on this. How much did I pay for this? It's thin, but you know what? It's the right color, and it'll do for a Squire Affinity rebuild. The bridge was $25. Now, was this $25? Yeah, $25 versus the fender bridge would have been $75. So I paid $25 US. These are in US dollars for this. It came with uh, trim, uh, the screws, everything that you would need. Springs. Wow, that's great. Came with 3 springs. That's deep. That'll work. I've got some extra springs. I like to lock them down with 4 to 5 springs. But I would consider that to be a win too. So far for the 3 parts that I've unboxed tonight, and looking at their prices, again, 25 for this versus 75 for a fender bridge that I paid. And actually, I'm being conservative. I paid a little bit more for that replacement fender bridge that I bought for the Squire SC than that, especially over here in um, in uh, in the EU. It's just off the charts. All right. Got hey Seamus, how you doing? Happy New Year to you, sir. Got a couple of bots in the house tonight. Um, that's all right. I'm sure my friend Addy Two Hats will show up and show you guys the door. But to everybody else, welcome, welcome. If you're not a bot, you are welcome. So there's that. I'm happy with that. Actually, I'm ecstatic with that because I was worried that that wouldn't line up. So we can put this back up here. What's next? What's next would be the tuners. Now, I this was one of the first things that I unpacked, and I can tell you right now that these tuners. See, here's the thing. I've had terrible luck with budget tuners, with them either not fitting or the shaft being too long in them, things of that nature. And I can tell you that it fits, it works, but that shaft is super long. That for me. However, once you put the bushing in there and lock down, which I'd like to see if that works. We'll do it live. We'll do it live. Let me see how if the bushings are the correct size because that's your biggest problems. Some of these Squire necks, some of these replacement necks, the bushings are 10.5 millimeters. Some of the older necks are 8. I'm sorry, 10 millimeter. Some of the older ones are 8.5. Um, so Yeah, actually, the bushings do fit. So, yeah, actually, I can't. The bushings are the correct size. Uh, it lines up. I think the shaft is a little long, but it basically works. So there's your tuners for this for inexpensive, not for a lot. How much did I pay for these tuners? $18. So I paid $18 for it, a set of 6 tuners. This is not the neck, by the way, that these tuners are going on. They'll go on the neck that's on the SE. All that hardware is going off and going on the new neck. And these will be the replacement parts for that. So I'd have to say a winner here. The Buzik, they haven't let me down. I was really worried about this. I thought that this was going to be a problem, but it's actually all right. The quality of these tuners. These are good enough, I would say, to do the job for just a project, restoring that affinity. Uh, I would say that they might actually be slightly worse than the original tuners, but they're a decent replacement part for now. And for 18 euros, 18 bucks, I think that that's not a bad thing. And again, like I said, correct size bushings. So there's that. I can't really complain about that. Again, a set of fender tuners will cost you 75 bucks as opposed to 18. And I'm being, again, very conservative with the prices on those fender replacements. They can creep up depending upon where in the world you are. Mike Scott has experience with modding, just saying. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, you could say that from the things that he shared. Why are there two different lengths of tuners? Well, it's not it's just a lot of it's a lot of questions I have. I have another sack of tuners that didn't fit. They're silver, so I wasn't going to work for this anyway. But it's always the shaft or the again, like I said, in my case, is it an 8.5 millimeter diameter hole you're trying to fill, or is it a 10 millimeter? And then sometimes you order the right one and they'll be off, instead of 8.5, they'll be like 8.2. It's just a mess. So I will take time to say that that's why I was slightly nervous about these tuners, is because this is where I think I would advise caution with. For 18 bucks, I said I'll take a try on it. If they didn't work with this, then maybe possibly down the line, I'll just throw it in my toolbox and they'll be there for another project that it may work for. And at that price, that's kind of how you build up your toolbox, your parts box. But I would advise, if you're really serious about it and you don't want to Mickey Mouse around, that you do go ahead and buy the fender parts. In this case, I would say this is where I would advise caution, is with tuners, because I've been burned a few times trying to find the right size tuner, and it wasn't worth returning at that price. So they are around, they're laying around. Someday they will be used for something, I'm hoping, and they're there. I have them available, but something to be just aware of. Measure the diameter of your of the hole that you are filling. Some of these holes are 8.5, some of them are 10 millimeter. Really measure that and know the difference, because the bushings, if they don't fit, they won't fit. And there's conversion kits that you can buy too, but it's just not worth the extra hassle. Just measure it out. And really, honestly, if you don't want to go in blindly and cross your fingers and hope that they work, then just go ahead and buy the official replacement parts in the case of tuners. And in the case of tuners, if it's a serious, this Affinity, I don't consider it to be a serious guitar. It would be nice to have around, to have it's not a parts caster, it's a Squire Affinity. It'd be nice to have one around because they're great guitars. But I'm not going to put a lot of money into it because it's not an expensive guitar. And again, that's about doing this, putting this thing back together again, a little bit nicer, certainly cosmetically than it was when it came, but doing it on a budget. Doing it on a budget. And that's kind of what this is about tonight. The pick guard. Well, the pick guard is what it came with, so that really cost me nothing. Um, be aware that the pick guard material, just the pick guard in itself, I've got several here. Here I have an HSH configuration pick guard loaded up like these ceramic pickups, so they're kind of junk. But sometimes the switches in these are, this is a 5-way switch in this one, but are great. The even completely loaded like this on Amazon, you can find these for 23 to 30 bucks. And then that can go, if you want to start getting into some of the stuff the other folks have mentioned here tonight, that'll start running you the 150, 200. It goes up. It really depends upon what you want to do. But for this kind of budget project, for putting something like back together, I could have easily decided to drop this into this, to be honest with you, to make it, but I wanted it to be back to its original somewhat uh, stock, somewhat. So I didn't do that. But again, just showing that the pick guards, even fully loaded, you can get them for surprisingly cheap. And if you don't use the new pick guard on my HH was loaded like this, we threw everything away except for the switch, and we replaced the pots, the cap, the all the wiring, and put in a set of hand wire pickups, and it's just wonderful. And again, in an HH configuration with 3 pickups and just one volume, one tone knob, that was economical to buy it that way, to buy it off of Amazon. Yeah, to buy it off of Amazon, than it would be to have a luthier make one. Fern could have made it, but it would have cost him too much in material fees and then his own hourly fee. So again, pick guards are something that I think that you can do. And there's a wide range of prices with. So you can play with that and use it all, or use the bits and pieces that you need, upgrade it later. A lot of options there. So pick guards can be done relatively cheaply. So in terms of parts these days, that's something that I think is super duper. Last but not least here, I can't find one thing that I'm having a hard time finding are gold strap knobs. I haven't found those yet. And also, if you notice, it's something that I didn't pick up on until I did and put it on here to see how it fit. These are the wrong color screws. All of these screws need to be replaced with gold screws, which I did order. Screws and spring set. You can get a whole mess of screws, to do the job for 10 bucks on Amazon. So those are on the way. So all these screws will be replaced with gold screws as well, front and back. And so there's that. And of course, inexpensive screws. If you have a good hardware store, you could probably source them there as well. That's not even something that you have to order online necessarily. And you get a whole box of them. That'll last you for several projects. I didn't have any gold ones. This is my first time putting together something with gold hardware, so I had to kind of start from scratch with getting a box of gold screws. Last but not least thing here, I'm trying to unwrap. Boy, they wrap that pretty good. Is, of course, the jack plate. Let's see how this is. So, gold jack plate. Does it line up? Yeah, lines up, goes right there. So that'll be it. So gold, gold, gold all the way around with this. And again, gold screws. So, it has to match the screws. All the other screws have to match that. That's when I realized it. I was thinking, oh yeah, you need gold screws for the rest of the pickguard, and all you can't use those silver screws. So that's something. But yeah, even something like is insignificant as something like this as these size screws, these small gold screws. That's something that you might want to add into your parts bag, so that you can do something like that. So you know what, guys? Unboxing this stuff with you and showing it off. And am I going to lose any of this? Let's put this in here. I think that's a better place for that. Yeah. Um, didn't turn out so bad. And um, I did all this for under 60 bucks. 50 and some change. $60 if I with the exchange. Yeah. $60. And when I get around to doing this, I want to paint this. So I wasn't going to paint it, but because I'm restoring it back again, I do want to paint it. So it's going to be a metallic silver with the gold hardware, and everything else will be its original parts. But I really, ooh, I really wanted to do it as inexpensive as possible. I wanted to look even with the paint job. I'm doing that myself. I have a paint tent. I just haven't had 2 days of good weather in order to do it in. Actually, I need three in order to do it right. I'm actually going to ask an artist friend of mine, Vincent, if he knows a place just like a house or some place where I can just go in and do the spraying in a day and knock it out and just do it that way. But even with this paint, it's like $10 for a can of metallic spray paint, the primer and finish. So not a lot of money to do a restoration. You don't want a Affinity brand new is what, a $200 guitar. So I got it for $89. The parts of it have gone in different places, but it's all come back together again. So it's still an $89 guitar. I'm going to put another $60 worth of parts into it, and I'm still under the cost of a new one, and it'll look fantastic, including a new paint job. And that's kind of how you want to look at these things. Guys will get into buying parts for their parts casters, and they'll automatically just start, loading up their cart with expensive stuff. And I'm saying that sometimes, if you do digging, or if you find a good place like Music, I keep mentioning them because I trust them. Knock on wood. I'm hoping this neck, like I said, that comes from them is as good as some of their stuff that I got here, their parts. But it may be a better option for you. It might just be the wiser thing to do. I'm just saying. Mike, I meant you could make Scott a mod. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about his skills. Yeah, Scott, if you're interested, I really, 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 really would appreciate it if we had two mods on this channel. I throw it out there, sir. If you're interested, I can set you up right now. But I didn't have the gold truss rod screw. The gold truss rod screw. Oh, God. Like a Mary Kay strat. Yeah, I got you. Now you got me thinking about what else have I forgotten on this thing? I think I've covered it all. Yeah, I think it'll be all right. But that's what I mean. When you do these things, there's 1,000 things in that you're thinking of. I didn't even think about the stupid little gold screws for the pickguard to go around. Didn't even occur to me until I looked at this jack plate and said, "Oh yeah." So I put that on order. I have no problem standing in Maddie when he's not here. Well, sir, if that is the case, I am going to make you a moderator. Live and also can mark words and change chat modes and live. Yep. You are now, sir, the second official moderator for the Upstairs to the Right Music channel. I am sorry that I've gotten to the point where I need a moderator. I never thought that I would. But now you have the power. Moderate away. No, sir, I'm the one that's honored. Seriously, I am. Um, yeah. All right, Steak 69. Your days are through. Jerry Blank, you're gone. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much for doing that. I really do appreciate that, Scott. Yeah, so very little money. Yeah, the total cost was at $66. Sorry, while the official fender replacements would have set you back at least, and I was being conservative, $210. And I'm not going to invest $210 into $199 guitar. It doesn't make any sense. Now, again, I look at the fact that I bought it at an auction for $89. If you guys remember back then, it was actually the very first Strat that I bought was a 2001 Squire Affinity. Um, that gives me, looking at its retail price, like I said, that's the top. That's the ceiling of what I would spend on restoring this. If I went the fender replacement route, I would have blown my budget by quite a bit, by $110. Going this route, I kept well under that. I'm still under the $199 that you can get retail. So there's that. Now, again, some things, we'll go back to these tuners again, because I think these are a good example of what I wrote here. And what I wrote here is not untrue after unboxing and holding these, is that they look decent for the price, but sometimes they can feel a little cheap. The bridge needs to be sturdy but lacks the polished finish you expect from a fender replacement. It's a sturdy thing. It'll do the job, but it's not, even when you feel it, it's not of the quality of those replacement parts. So there's that to be considered as well. The price range on this is so wide that the quality versus cost option really comes down to you and your budget and your level where you want to go. Again, for me, this is about as maybe a little bit less quality than you would find on a Squire anyway. So that works. No brand, but it works. It works. But that is something to be aware of. Now, the input jack is fine, um, but you can't really go wrong there. As long as it fits and it's the proper size. Um, all these parts are serviceable, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They're all fairly serviceable. Uh, they're not expertly crafted, however, they will do the job. So look at, if you're doing a restoration job, find a guitar and you're saying, hey, I got this for a deal, let me restore it. Look at first what the retail price of that guitar is, because I can paint this, and I will paint it very nice. I'll put a nice silver metallic paint job on this body. That and the gold hardware that you guys just saw, it'll look stunning. But at the end of the day, it will just be a 2001 Squire Affinity, and the used price on those are like $150. Be about what it's worth, and to spend anything more than that on it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So that's your ballpark there. That's your ballpark. And it's something that you seriously want to consider. Now, again, affordability, you save money with these parts compared to if I bought fender parts, the exact same fender parts. They're easy to find on Amazon or similar sites. Being here in the Netherlands, you would think that, and in Amsterdam, I'm not down in the countryside, you would think that the availability of parts would be far and wide as you would find in Los Angeles, but no. And the markup, import costs after the VATs, brick and mortar stores, all the ads they put onto that, they can get pricey when you can't find them. And they are traded regularly on the secondhand market here. There is a Fast and Furious parts. Mark Plots, I wouldn't trust it with my life, but that is one place that you can go to find replacement parts. Um, But if you want to get them new, which I did, I didn't want a bunch of old, scratchy gold parts. Then it's not as easy to find as these are. Um, and they're great for experimenting. An idea. I'm experimenting with this gold hardware thing. I've never done it before. I've never had a gold hardware, and gold hardware has a tendency to wear down, so it doesn't last. So what do I think that this gold that they put on most of these parts is going to last? No, but in the short term, as long as I keep the guitar nice and don't abuse it, it'll hold up long enough for me to enjoy at least. Um, but there is that as well. It's great for experimenting or restoring low value guitars. I would consider a Squire Affinity to be a great guitar, but it is a low value guitar. It's a low value guitar. One of the things that makes them great, and which one of the things that makes this restoration that I'm doing on this one great, because I can buy these level parts and feel comfortable with doing that. My wallet is very happy for it. Fitment Fitting concerns. Not all parts may align perfectly during installation, kids. Your mileage may vary. Interesting though, most of these parts that are you can find these Chinese parts, they're mostly Squire duplicates. So if you're doing a Squire, you're probably pretty much rolling the ballpark. If you're doing a Fender, it may get a little dicey. It may get just a little dicey. So that's something that you want to consider. The fit. Is Molly, how are you doing? Welcome to you. Good to have you. We're doing fine. Glad to have you here. Thank you so much for showing up. Um, Quality, of course, after fit and finish, materials and construction can feel cheaper, and they do. I just showed you those two bridges. Even this bridge that I thought was too thin on the original bridge on that Squire, I replaced with the Fender one. The new, which is good because you want a thin, bridge in your Affinity anyway. That's what they come with, but some parts can feel cheaper, and this does feel like a cheaper bridge compared to a 20-year-old Chinese made bridge. That kind of difference in 20 years in Chinese parts, mostly, generally. Longevity. Some parts may not last as long, especially the tuners and the bridge. Now, I don't. That whammy bar is going to stay in its case. I don't use whammy bars. I'm not. I'm not going to put any hard wear and tear on that bridge. But they're right. Those tuners. Could start to slip on you a whole lot of things. So it's just something to be aware of. The fitting, the quality, and the longevity are things that you guys might want to take a look at when you're looking at these replacement parts. How do you align a stubborn neck that doesn't want to fit the pocket? Is it try and try again? Yeah. Sometimes, and I have them here, you have to put in, boy, my brain is not working. You'll have to put in, somebody help me out here. The little, I cut up thin little strips of wood and I put it in here sometimes in order to, God, it's such an easy word, and I can't think of it right now. But you might need shim. Thank you, shim. So you might need to shim it. Um, this neck is not the neck, but again, it's modeled off a Squire neck. When you have that kind of play, you're going to have to. What I do is I hold it, I get it in line, and I make sure that it's lined up the best that I can, and then work from there. We did that with the neck on the SC because that pocket's too wide, and if you get that alignment just right, sometimes you can stick. What I did was I stuck a piece of wood in here in order that it was the exact distance. I did that with one guitar. You got, in other words, what I'm saying is there's ways you can play with it, but you got to kind of play with it in order to get it. Next is a nightmare. That's the way. It's funny that you should mention that because with this new neck, because it's just like this one, hasn't been pre-drilled. So I gotta make that work, make that align, and make that work, and that is not something that you want to screw up on. So I hate that. I hate doing necks. But those are some of the tricks that I've used in order to make it work. You just kind of make it work. This black man looks like Dave Chappelle. Now we're finally getting somebody that I think looks decent, but smarter. I don't know. Dave Chappelle is pretty smart. I have to say that he's actually borderline genius. I sadly am not, but I appreciate the compliment. Yeah, necks are. That's my upcoming nightmare. That's honest, no lie. That's the one thing that I'm dreading. Is that new neck, is it going to fit in that pocket? It should, and the alignment. So got that to look forward to. Fortunately, the body's already drilled, so tricks that I do to make sure that those holes line up with the pre-existing holes. There's clamping you can do. You got to play with it, and you got to use your eye, and your measuring tools. It's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. Remember C3PO? It's a nightmare. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I really appreciate that, reminding me that that's coming up with this new neck. So are inexpensive, I'm just kidding. So are inexpensive parts worth it? If you're restoring a guitar with sentimental value or just testing your DIY skills, they're a great way to save money, a fantastic way to save money. But if you're upgrading a main gigging guitar, investing in official parts may give you better results in the long run. This Squire Affinity, in no way, shape, or form, is my gigging guitar. If I were to choose one, no, that SE that I'm turning, that Partscaster SE, that would be my gigging guitar because I'm putting quality parts on it. Not That's not getting uh, uh, cheap parts, the tuners, the bridge, everything, the wiring, the pots, the caps, all that's first class. But still, I kept that inexpensive. I kept the cost of that low. A lot of it has to do, again, like I said, having parts around, having parts, having your tools. I finally got my wire stripper in, decent wire stripper. The one that I was using before really was it does the job, but it nowhere in any way, shape, or form does it to the level that this one does. So even with something like this, I'm going through the process of getting tools too to do jobs. The right tool for the right job. The wrong tool when you're trying to do a job is very frustrating, time consuming. So, parts, guys, let's talk about parts. Um, Really depends upon your situation. Do not get into the main trap of if you're building a parts caster and you're looking at this, do not fall into the main trap of most people when they're building a parts caster, into overspending and spending way too much. Because at the end of the day, it's a great guitar that's great for you. Somebody may not appreciate the upgrades, and if you try to sell it. So there is that. Seamus, I have a Simic George Lynch style guitar body skills and snakes. I'm restoring skulls and snakes. I'm restoring. Yeah, yeah, cool. Couldn't get a neck to fit and had to buy another Samex Super just for the neck. Necks can make or break a project. Yes, sir. I agree. Necks can make or break a project. It's a nightmare. And again, like I said, I got this neck coming in from every measurement. And again, they were great to give you exact measurements. I was able to measure the pocket. Everything seems to line up. So ours align with this one. But yeah, man, I actually considered buying or looking for a Squire SE just so that I could find a neck for the Squire SE that I already had. And I immediately said, no, I can't do that. But I understand what you did there because I seriously considered it myself for this project. And then fortunately, like I said, an alert on Temu. I don't generally buy from Temu, as you guys know, but Muick Music was blowing out their stuff on Temu. So for $44 shipped, I hope that it works out because necks can make or break a project. I agree completely. That's why Fern is unhappy with that neck that's currently on my Strat, my HH Strat, because he's just not happy with it. He says neck. It's a good neck, good quality wood, be great on another guitar, this one. But you need to get another neck for this in order to get just right. So there's that, guys. Parts, man, parts are a nightmare and ass. That's what forums are for. Forums are there for guys who are, if you're thinking about changing something, then look on the forums. See what people are saying. They can save you a lot of time and money. People have already gone ahead and done that. So thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. There'll be no bots tonight, guys. We got it covered. But parts are something that it's a great thing to do. And I don't want to discourage anybody from doing it because I absolutely, yeah, great job, Scott. I agree. I absolutely want to encourage you to do this kind of thing and to grow and grow, grow to the you get comfortable where you could put together your own guitar, from scratch, and you'd be happy with that. That's all that I'm working towards. But you know, just be aware of price. Don't get caught up in that rabbit hole of spending too much. Looks great, but you could probably buy something equivalent for less. New is what I see with a lot of these parts casters by the time a lot of these guys get done. So those are my bits of advice regarding parts, guys. That's what I honestly think. I'm trying my microphone again. I retired it for a little while, but we don't seem to be having the popping issue that we were having before with this. I hope it worked out tonight. I like using it because I think the sound quality is superior, obviously. So that was good. Let me guys know how it sounded, right, if you don't mind, before we sign out here. Um, that's it for that. Would you go for budget parts yourself, or would you invest in official replacements? Love to hear a comment below, whether you're watching this live now or in the rerun. Comment down below in the comment section. Um, Sounds good to me. Good. I appreciate it, Scott. Thank you. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on what would you do? What have you done? We've had some people share here tonight. I've shown you what I plan on doing. Yeah, guys, it's really just like I said, this is all the parts I need except for the screws in order to do this Squire Affinity up really nice. Actually, the only thing that's going to delay me now that I've got all the parts is the paint job. So I will be looking into that. But again, it's a good thing. It'll look great. It'll be cool, and again, I didn't put more into it than it's worth, and that's where you want to be. Yeah, it takes a little digging, it's a little hunting. I keep mentioning them. I'll mention them for the fourth time tonight. Amuic Music. I've bought a lot of parts from them. Just you guys, I just unboxed the parts that well, with the exception of the back. One of these is not from them, but they all okay. I can recommend them. Again, I have a neck. Interestingly enough, I didn't buy Amazon. I bought from Temu from them, and I'm hoping these are their parts, so it should fit as well. So dig around, look around, set up alerts, and yeah, all my guitars are under warranty, so uh, OEM parts would be used to repair mine. Got you. It sounded much better tonight. It's not perfect, but that's YouTube. Hey, good enough. Just as long as we're getting clarity, we were getting pops. And I used this mic to do some voiceovers, and I had no problem with it. So I know it's not the mic. So was it my phone? Well, it doesn't do that when I don't use the mic. Anyway, I thought I would try it again tonight, and I'm happy I did. I'm sure this sounds much better. Um, all right, guys. That's it for this New Year's Day live. I want to thank everybody for showing up and taking the time to watch me unbox these parts for my restoration that I'm doing on this Squire Affinity. I'm excited. All the parts ended up being okay. So it's like Christmas in June for me. It actually worked out. And just some food for thought, guys. I thought I would share this with you. I want to thank Scott for being my second moderator tonight, my replacement moderator tonight, while Maddie is out. I want to thank Maddie and Scott for doing that for me. I appreciate it. I want to thank all you other guys, as always, for showing up. Having Ibanez, Talman Acoustic Electric, Headstock Snap, Repair Not Looking Any Good, any tips on New Nook, or yeah, you're gonna have a hard time with that. Um, and you're getting out of my wheelhouse, so I will go to a luthier with that one, to be honest. Anyway, gentlemen, that's it. I will release a video regarding something coming up here. I got an unboxing coming up. God, yeah. I have two Fender Japan basses, and they're nice ones. These are true Fender Japan only models. Hopefully they'll be here. I will definitely film it by this weekend. I will definitely film an unboxing video for those, and I will share those with you live on Sunday if they're here by Saturday. I will share them with you. You can take a look at those. So that's coming up, guys. Yeah, it's a new year, but same old shit. Let's just keep it rolling. Thank you so much to everybody for taking time to watch this live stream. Again, whether you're watching it live or in the rerun, watching it all the way through is greatly appreciated. Hit the like button, guys. If you want to join this community of fantastic, fantastic guys and girls, hit the subscription button, join in, tune in, chime in, and I would appreciate those very much. You guys take care, and I will see you later. Bye bye.